Hello, everybody. Well, we are back. Another panel discussion. All of September, well, Mel and I decided that we are going to celebrate podcasters globally. And that's exactly what's happening. I tell you, I am so very excited. And I want you to listen to each and every one-on-one conversation and panel discussion because at the end of the day, I promise you, you are going to learn something that you're going to be inspired. And today, the podcast newbies are going to chime in. These are folks that haven't been podcasting for a year yet, but do they have some insight? So let me bring them in. First of all, welcome, ladies. So glad
Thank
that you're
you.
here.
Thank
And
you.
I'm going to get a shameless plug in also. All of these ladies came from podcastacademyonline.com. And that's all I'm going to say
That's where we
about
got
it.
started. Yes.
That's all I'm going to say about it. So let's bring in, we're going to start with Miss Mary Fernandez. Mary, give us the name of your podcast and tell us why you got started podcasting.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Mary Fernandez, and my podcast is Leadership, Legacies, and Legends Unleash. And I started podcasting about a month ago. And the reason I started was because I was everywhere on the internet, participating, encouraging, teaching, speaking. However, I didn't have a home per se for the gifts and the services I wanted to offer. And I had podcasting on my list of to-dos because I knew that people don't want to be all over the place looking for you. They need to know where your front door is and how to ring your bell. So I have a home now.
All right.
3LUs.
Right on.
I love it. I love it. Jessica, tell us about where you what the name of your podcast and where are you located, ma'am?
Absolutely. So, hello, everyone. My name is Jessica Richie, and the name of my podcast is the Richie Workforce Inspires Podcast. And I launched my podcast in March of this year. And I am so excited. Let me tell you, because I started the podcast during the pandemic. Let me tell you, I knew I had a desire and I wanted the podcast, but it was important for me to have the framework. You can tell me all day, I can Google it, I can try to research it, but I get overwhelmed in the how to. But when you walk me through, give me homework and hold me accountable, I'm going to make sure it gets done. And as busy as my schedule was, I needed that. And so my biggest thing was with over 40 million people who have lost their job during the pandemic, people need help, people need inspiration. And if I can get that out there to you to make sure that you're getting the information you need, that is exactly what I want to do. And what the biggest surprise that I have gained from it so far is the collaboration. The amazing people that I have been able to meet and to hear the things that they have said that has allowed me to do more in less time. It has been so powerful. So I'm looking forward to all the amazing things. Let me tell you, when I get to that 1 year, I'm celebrating. I'm turning up. I'm already getting excited because I am looking forward to it and I'm happy to be here.
Yes.
There's nothing like podcasting. There is absolutely nothing like podcasting. Miss Imani, you let this thing out. I think you were number one customer.
I actually made a year this month, so yeah. Yeah, it was August of last year, you know. Wow. I know it seems like it went by fast, right, Margot? Like, what? Yeah, so still claim the newbie status, you know. I'm still but I'm feeling pretty good in it. And hey, everyone, Imani Aisha, and the name of my podcast is The Saucy Marriage. The Saucy Marriage podcast. And obviously it is about marriage. I'm a marriage coach. And so just being able to reach more people and really talk about the real of what it means to keep marriages together, right? The sharper edges and the smoother edges and the fun and the challenging conversations and the things that perhaps we only want to talk about behind the scenes. This is a platform for us to be able to talk about it in front of the scenes, to have the conversation. And to me, that's what it feels like. It feels like a conversation that I can have in my pajamas at 3 a.m. after I put my daughter to bed, if that's, you know, the time frame that I can get that in for, you know, doing the podcast, to be honest. And I just love the feedback knowing that it's a conversation for real, and when people kind of respond back, that oh, there's people who are listening, there are people who have feedback, there are people who have changed their perspective on their marriage. One male, realizing that I have both male and female listeners, reached out and said, hey, after your last podcast episode, I had a conversation that I was avoiding with my wife. And so just to be able to do that was really powerful, and in a way that, like I said, allowed me to show up in my jammies if I needed to and be that voice. So it's been really exciting, and I'm going to be finishing up season 2 and starting on season 3 in the new year. So
wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, we clap. That's big clap up right there. That's big
Thank
clap
you.
up. Oh my goodness. Miss Roxanne, and I see Angel J. Looks like she's getting situated. Miss Angel, we want to hear from you after we hear from Miss Roxanne, please.
Okay, so my name is Roxanne Elizabeth Epperson, and the name of my podcast is The Healing Space Live and Online Chats with Roxanne and Rhonda. And it's so funny how that just organically happened, because it was originally Healing Space Live and Online. I don't know, it just Chats with Roxanne and Rhonda just came out of my mouth, and I'm like, I like that. So that's what it is. And hopefully she will join us. She just came back from vacation, so she might not be able to join us this evening. But anyway, our podcast of The Why. The Why is I'm on a mission to help a minimum of 1 million women globally heal after being violated during domestic violence, teen dating violence, sexual violence, all of that. I'm a survivor of all of the above. And once after the incident that almost took my life, I was on a mission. And I've been, that was in 2000 or 2001 or 1999 or something like that. So I've been on a mission since then.
No.
And I realized that the podcast is, it's just a excellent way to get your message out there. And I echo everything everybody Jessica said about Margot's teaching as well, because it was a godsend. I was getting ready to go out there and figure it out on my own, and it's like, why?
Oh yeah, don't do that.
Why?
Do that.
That's
exactly.
just too stressful. It didn't even make any sense. Even I could have done it. I'd probably be on episode 1 now instead of instead of episode 17.
Right.
So we launched in April, and we're just having a ball. So we have a lot of growing to do. We haven't gotten to the feedback stage yet. So I need to bump up some things and get on that bandwagon, getting some feedback so I can know how we do. We do have a couple fans though. After 3 sessions, somebody said, I'm a fan. I'm like, well, all right. So we're growing. We're having a good time, and I am excited. I am so looking forward to that 1 year celebration.
Wow.
I'm hooked.
Yes,
I'm hooked.
yes.
Powerful.
Good.
And I'm not
Powerful.
even I don't even like public speaking.
Wow.
I can feel the change. There goes my girl. There she got it.
Yes.
But I could feel the change coming. I'm getting more and more comfortable with it, and so I'm having a ball.
That's
having
amazing.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Let's hear
And
from
let me
Angel-
just. Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's hear from Angel
ahead.
J, and then we'll get to Rhonda, and then I won't come back to all of this excitement that you all hear and feel, and the fact that all of you all are not in pod fade. That is amazing. Do you know how many people began their podcast and didn't get past number 8? You all beat the statistics, so that is commendable. Let's hear from Miss Angel J. Tell us all about your podcast. What is it all about? And then we're gonna flip on over to Miss. What looks like
Rhonda.
Looks like Rhonda may come back.
Technology
Angel
don't
J,
want us
let's
to be
hear
great.
from you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Angel
Hi.
J. I am the host of the podcast Fired Up, Controversial Conversations for Women of Color. And it's been a ride so far. It has been very interesting. There are a lot of topics. And I am in session 2 now, Sisterhood, Sister Hate. And it's addressing women of color as far as their relationship skills with other women of color, regardless of whether it's African American, Asian, indigenous, which I always say wrong, but Native American, the list goes on and on. So I'm learning a lot. I've slowed down a little bit on posting because I started listening to my podcast, which I don't think I should do. I think I should. I'm learning that you just say it and move. Listen to it before you publish it, because the more I listen, the more I'm like, I can't do this. But then I shake that because I don't have a choice. I think yesterday I looked and I hit Australia. So I'm in Australia, Europe, Mexico, and then I think it was 93 states. 93 something, I don't know. And elsewhere. So I know that the doors are opening and people are listening. And I'm just trying to bring it in my own personal way, the way I deliver it. So I'm working on that and not giving up. I'm right behind you guys. So keep going so I can keep going.
All right.
Hey, you were built to keep going. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
You were built to keep going.
Yeah,
that's all.
definitely.
That's all factored in.
Definitely.
Miss Rhonda, can we hear us? Can you see us? Look like she's having.
She's frozen.
Yeah, she's coming back in.
Miss Rhonda?
I'm so sorry.
No apologies.
Well, okay. I'm on the phone, so I'll probably get dropped off again. But congratulations to the sister who just said she's in Australia. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Miss Rhonda, can you talk about? Oh, looks like she got dropped.
Oh wow.
Okay. Let's go on to the next thing that I want to bring out of you all. What do you all find? I mean, each one of you, the subjects are so deep.
This is powerful.
And these are what you guys are doing, life-changing. Nobody has a little, we're just sitting around in the garage and talking about nothing. No, you guys hold people's futures in your hand. So once you became aware of that, how do you keep the passion going and you dig deeper? And how do you keep the transparency that has to come from podcasting? How do you all keep that right there for everyone whenever you put out a new podcast? Just jump in there. Let's have a conversation about that.
I say for me, it's the intimacy of this kind of platform. It's really you and the mic. So for me, it's almost like confessions. Before you actually hit publish, it's just us and the mic, and you're telling the story or your story. And I know, Roxanne, you actually you have a partner, and it's just you and Miss Rhonda and the mic. And so to me, there's an intimacy to it. And so I think that helps with the transparency. I talk a lot about my own marriages, not marriages, y'all. My own marriage. The one, and just lessons that I've learned about myself and things that I've had to really be honest with myself about. And it's really cathartic to be able to do that on a different platform. Like video is one thing, you might go live on Facebook, but there's something just you and the mic and telling that story that just feels different. And so for me, it's easier to be vulnerable and keep the passion going, to be transparent and know that that's something that is needed. I think I didn't know everybody's topics, but my God, I was like, what? Yeah. These are conversations that need to be had. And a lot of them are tender, but we need that tenderness, right? The things that we often say in the dark, they do need to come to light so that people can be reminded they're not alone, because no matter how much we know we're not alone, somehow we still think we're alone. So I would say that's been a big part of it for me.
Gotcha.
For me, I want to say the transparency is almost like you have to be you, because you can see through you, and if you can see through you, others can too. And the call, it's like a call on our lives. I feel that common thread. And the call is to serve and speak into the ear and the life of the person who needs you and may not know their way or cannot find their way, or are lost out there trying to think of what they want to do someday, but someday just hit. I heard Roxanne talk about the edge of life. I mean, I faced that moment, never knowing that that can happen. You can come to a point where if you don't come out of this, you're going the other way, which is dying. And so when you come out on the other side, you realize, well, how much time am I going to waste? How much life have I to live? How many people can I wake up now instead of later? So the passion to serve and the goal to be authentic. I correct myself. I had to check myself with my last podcast. I shared that, I'm used to being the announcer, the cheerleader, the this, the that. But when I'm talking, I have to calm myself down. And so I can hear the heart of the other person. So I can picture them. And I almost feel like I'm sitting on a sofa in a nice room with people that need to hear me. They're hearing me. And the people that are passing by is like a buzz of a noise in the universe. But the people that need to hear what we have to say, they're listening 1,001%, just like I was listening when I was seeking and learning.
Wow. Yeah. So I could say for me, the compassion and the passion and the transparency. Now, the transparency really came about in 2015 when a woman from the Center for Victims of Violence and Crime asked me to be interviewed in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. That took a lot of nerve because, like I said, public speaking is not my thing. I had this self-esteem body issue going on. So I agreed to do it. And I wore a form-fitting dress, something that this low self-esteem, hiding my body person would never, ever do. I tell you, that was the most freeing thing I have ever done. I walked out of that interview. I was like, yeah. But the self-esteem didn't completely go away at that moment, but it was the beginning of it. And then, the article was just my story of abuse from childhood, from the childhood sexual abuse all the way up to the incident that almost took my life. And everybody in Pittsburgh, it was like I was a little celebrity for a few minutes because people was like, "Didn't I see you in the newspaper?" And this one woman, she pulled over her bus. She got off the bus and just hugged me. And then she got back on the bus. She said, "Girl, I've been there too." And it was just so freeing. And people was coming up to me, sharing their stories. And then that's when I knew. Because I tell you, I can't tell you how many times I tried to quit doing my program before the podcast. God won't let me. And the pandemic I'm like, okay, the pandemic made me lose my job and made me get into my passion on a full-time basis. So, that's the good I took out of this madness that we've experienced this past year,
Jessica,
I love it.
Angel J?
Absolutely. I love it. So I have to agree that the transparency is key, and being able to tell my story with leaving others with their dignity. And so as a career strategist and being able to help faith-based women see that you're not alone, because in the pandemic, before we think about, having this virtual environment, so many people have been isolated. And so being able to connect now virtually, to be in so many countries, to be able to spread that message of hope is so inspirational. First, it speaks volumes to me because I know what it looks like to be in a toxic work environment. I know what it looks like when you're being overlooked. I know what it looks like, what it feels like during your favorite Christmas holiday. And you get told, everything is going good. Jessica, you're doing an amazing job. And then all of a sudden, everything changed. Oh, your work performance is not up to par. But at the same time, they can't speak on it because I'm just delivering what somebody else told me. But before, everything was good. And so it's important not to settle. And when you come up to that point, how do you go from no job offers? How do you go from nothing to be able to have multiple job offers coming in? And even then, how do you not miss opportunities that are destined for you? Because what God put in you is for you. So you have to remember, like I said in the beginning, there are over 40 million people who have lost their job. But guess what? There's still over 200 million employers that exist. So there is still one that's willing to give you an opportunity. And I came to the realization, and I said to myself, I refuse to be a sitting resource. And it's the how to. A lot of times we think it's so much more that people need. Working in HR for so many years, I see a lot of things. So let me help you do what I've done by example and tell my story to let you know that you can have what you desire. Don't do it alone. Success leaves clues. And the biggest thing is to keep showing up. Keep showing up. Somebody needs what you have. And so when you keep showing up, they're looking for that consistency. They're looking to see you persevere through what you're going through. And that's why I'm here to tell my story and to inspire as many as I can as well.
I'm loving that. Consistency unlocks everything. I heard somebody say that today. It unlocks everything. Wow. This is good. This is good to me. This is good. Angel J, jump on in there. Jump on in there, Angel J.
I'm still quite new to the field of podcasting, so I did hit a few rocky roads and bumps. I'm very transparent with that. And what I realized after taping the first 3 or 4 episodes and getting feedback, even from people that I did not know, and realizing that my words have the power to speak life and death, and to actually confront situations that we as women of color are either one, not permitted to confront or won't confront. And so that passion in me is to make sure that when I'm recording, the information is educational. I'm making people aware. We're not just talking about everyday blah, 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 but we're talking about why are we still on the top of statistics for most likely to die during giving birth, or number 1 for high blood pressure, mental illnesses, and all of these things. So even with podcasting and recording or preparing to record a topic on mental health, I had to shut down for almost 3 weeks to actually get my mind right, because you can't be a fraud and go out and speak about mental health when you're a hot mess yourself. So I had to identify, okay. And when I say hot mess, I mean that there's no way you can live in this world and not have some type of mental battle. It may not be an illness, but before you get to the illness, there's a battle that you're either winning or you're not. And so bringing that to the forefront and actually being transparent with myself first keeps me passionate about the assignment and the calling on my life.
Amen.
This is some good stuff.
This is just the fact, this conversation right here, people don't even want to act like they want to act like every time you see them, it's on the first date. You know, on the first date, everybody's got their coup de grace on and you slip in, and we never get to this type of conversation. That's why I think we have so many people talking about, I'm about to launch a podcast. I've been thinking about it, all this, all that, but you all have coming with transparency, the hurdles, your why. This is good stuff. This is amazing. I'm looking at the time. We could talk for a couple of hours easily. But in wrapping this up, I want each and every one of you all to give someone out there who's been thinking about podcasting. They're looking at it. They're sitting there watching you all. And they say, oh, they did it. I don't know if I can. I don't know. Here we go. I don't know. But speak to that. Since you've been podcasting, I don't care if you are at number 8, or even if you haven't made it that far, speak to that person as to why the world is waiting for their voice, their message. Who wants to kick that off?
Somebody said earlier, I forgot how she worded it, but people need what you have. So you need to do these podcasts because you can reach a multitude of people. Once you grow, you're bound to grow, because this is God's work we're doing. So I have no doubt that we're going to grow. And it's just like I know people who do one-on-one counseling or one-on-one consultations or whatever, and they realize it's like, no, I can't do that anymore. I need the podcast. I need the stage so you can reach that multitude of people. We got to come out of our shells. I have several people in my life who want to start a podcast, and I'm strongly encouraging them. Online Academy. What's the website, Miss Margo?
podcastacademyonline.com.
See, I said it wrong. That's why she said. But yeah, I'm encouraging several. I got maybe about 3 or 4 people who are interested. So, and they have invaluable information to share, and so do most of you out there. So let's do it. And this room is growing. This industry is growing. There's plenty of room. I don't care. And we talk about mental health on our podcast. Angel talks about it. It doesn't matter because she got her audience. I got mine, and we're all going to probably 9 times out of 10 be on each other's podcasts as guests at some point. I can't imagine that not happening.
Definitely.
So anyway, that's my little spill on why you need, and just meeting these like-minded people. That's another thing. That's that's a part of your growth as well. Being surrounded by like-minded people, not all that negative noise. I haven't been around that in the past year. That's another thing the pandemic has done for me. It has put me in front of some very positive, powerful women. I love it.
I do too. I love that. Positive, powerful women.
Yeah.
And that's so true because when we're in this podcasting space on the learning journey, we found a lot of like-minded hearts and spirits, which means we felt good coming out of our comfort zone. And why now? It's like you close your eyes 1 minute, you open your eyes another second, and life has changed. And that I haven't come forward totally with all of my life story, but I have made it to heal myself. The way I do things is I want to help the world first, and then I have permission to receive. So one of the pivotal points is in my story called "This is Why I'm Taking the Shot," because when I went into that hospital that day, I was just doing life. Life didn't threaten me or tell me that it could take me out in a minute, but internally something went wrong and went off. And 7 hours from entering the hospital to being told what it is felt like 1 hour, but 7 hours of total pain and terror because of the body taking over. So in that story, it looks like it's talking about the COVID shot, but it's talking about take your shot now in life. You have health, you have strength, you have a voice, you have a mind. When you cannot speak anymore, when you have to turn all of your life over to your daughter. I did that in that hospital with no reservations. Nothing mattered. I just wanted to be present with the Lord so that I could fight this battle. So fight for your joy and fight for your peace and get out there and live your dream. The wait, those days are gone. The voices of today, we hear so much negative, so many individuals' opinions to the point that it's like this. So you have to turn that off and be the voice of hope, the voice of this isn't just you. It's not happening only to you. The world is a good place, but we need you. Speak up, speak out. Come on, girl, let's get this thing done. So podcasting with the right teacher, encouragement, and discipline and guides. I mean, the mentors, they guide you. Don't fumble tech your way. Do it now. Do it now. It is your time. It is your time. I hear myself now saying, call the ambulance. That's all I could say. Call the ambulance. So when you can say that, that's good. But if you can't, you could have stayed at home and quietly died on the way because that nurse and everybody kept saying, I'm so glad you came. I'm so glad you came. They knew what was going on. Life is too precious and too fragile not to speak up, speak out, and go live your gift and share it with the world.
Wow.
You ladies are inspiring me beyond measure. Let's keep this conversation going. Wow.
Yes, they are. And I just want to say, I definitely agree with everything that you ladies have said, especially Mary and Roxanne, and how you talk about the noise. You know, one way to get rid of the negative thoughts is to silence that noise by taking action. When you take action, you don't allow fear to conquer whatever it is that has been holding you back, because that's how you find out what works and what doesn't work. And I believe one of the biggest things that you should always do is, regardless of where you go and you're learning and you're researching and you're trying to do it on your own, invest in yourself. Invest in you. You're worth it. Bet on you. We give everybody else an opportunity, but this time do it for you, because tomorrow's not promised.
That's right.
Not only leave the legacy, but live the legacy that you want to leave. And this is one of the biggest ways that you can do that, by investing in you. And I'll say this, and it's a quote I love and something that I go by, and it's do it scared, do it unprepared, and do it again.
Love it. Love it.
Yes.
I like that.
And my mentor adds on, do it dirty. Just do it.
Yes.
Do it. I
Yes.
love it. I
Yeah.
agree with all of that as well. You ladies are bringing it. And the thing about the noise too, it makes, just piggybacking off of that is that one of the things that we have to do in addition to the action, I believe, is to learn to listen to our own voices. There years ago, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do a podcast because so many people told me that's what you should do. You'd be great at it. And I didn't. I did like 2 episodes that never made it anywhere. I didn't really have direction. It wasn't because it was something that came from me at the time. It was something that somebody told me that they thought I would be good at. And so I was like, okay, let me try it type of thing. And there was a reason why I wasn't committed at that time. And so to fast forward maybe 3 years later, to know now that I'm ready without anybody else saying that and say, hey, this is the time that I want to do this. Clearly now this is something that I've done and that I've stayed committed to. And a lot of folks don't do it because it is a commitment. But the reality is that a lot of us are dealing with finances and money, pandemic, things are happening, and I get it. But I always say to myself that money is fluid. It's going to come and go, but time is finite. We don't get that back. We're not hopping in a DeLorean. So if we're not doing that, then we have to decide what we're going to spend our time on, because that's our biggest commodity. What are we going to spend our time on? We don't get that back. How are we going to do that? And we need to spend it on things that we value. And if we value our message and we value our voice, and you who are listening, if you're on the fence about doing that, then this is what you want to do. Like Miss Mary said, this is the time, because that's something that you value, and you know that the message is important for somebody else. And I think all across the board, we've said, hey, we're doing this because we know that the message is important for our healing, mutually beneficial, but it's also important for everybody who's listening, as we're on that couch, Miss Mary, and they're listening to us, and we're listening to them, to their feedback. We're imagining what it is that they're saying. We're getting that sense of conversation. And for me, a big part of starting and not feeling like I was doing alone was, Podcast Academy Online, because I was like, okay, there's tech involved. This is real talk. There's tech involved. There's things that you need to know. There's a lot. There's logistics to this. But if you get the logistics down, you just get started and you sit down with your mic and you just do that first episode of that trailer, as Margot would say, and you make it happen. You've already paved the way. Like you're laying in the bed and you're like, "Ooh, I don't want to get up," but if you just swing one leg over, the other leg is coming.
Right.
You're going to put your slippers on. You're going to stand up. Before you know it, you're in the shower. You know what I mean? But you had to swing your leg over. You had to start somewhere. And so don't be overwhelmed trying to jetpack to the top of the mountain. Just get the equipment that you need and then take that first step. You know what I'm saying? So for those who are worried about the commitment, it really is just a step-by-step thing, and get the support that you need to start and to launch you into a good space, and then run with it.
Run.
I'm about to throw something over here. I'm so happy.
You gonna throw your shoe?
You're going to shoot me on
You gonna throw your shoe?
This is real talk.
Reference.
That's what I'm talking about. Real talk. Oh my goodness. All right. Who's next?
I think Angel's last.
Well, I think I'm next. And yes, what I would say is that I think when I started my podcast, like I was telling Margot and Mary, we had a conversation, and I said, I was so busy trying to read off these cards and, trying to make sure, am I videoing right? Am I, is it recording? What do I sound like? And then after like session 3, you can actually hear me switch up. And I think one of the sessions is called Life Speakers. And what I realized was that and I'll just say this across the board, I believe in God deeply. And when God gives you an opportunity to open your mouth and speak life out into the atmosphere, and he makes it international, it's not, we're not just talking to the local people on our block, but he opens the door for you to be able to speak life. My goal is to make an impact, a positive impact even though I'm speaking about controversial conversations, I know that I have been given the authority and the power to raise the dead. And we don't think of raising the dead from an emotional point of view or a mental point of view. There are so many of us sitting around basically in a coma. And, you know, oh, I'll pray for you. I'll pray for you. And you don't have to pray for them. What you can do is open your mouth, tell your story, speak your life into them, and you're breathing a ruach word into them. And that's what raises the dead. We have so many of us just walking around lethargic with life, with their purpose, with their career. And we have been not only called, but pushed forward with a microphone to say, go ahead. We've been given that right teacher to say, no, don't do it like that. Or no, you can't stop after number 6. What's wrong with you? Get your life, you know, and that is so powerful for all the ones that didn't get it. So when you know that you've been given this calling to speak life, you don't have a choice. It's not one of those things that you get to say, I'm good, I'll get to it when I get to it. Somebody's dying. Somebody needs to live their purpose. And because I didn't go through the hell that I went through for no reason, I remember asking God, why would you allow me to go through this kind of life? And he said, I'll give you your answer. Wait for it. And then I got my answer and I'm like, oh, okay. All right. To whom much is given, much is required. And so that calling is not just something I get to do when I feel like doing. It is a purpose. And there is somebody who, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, it could cost them everything. And don't believe that God will send somebody else. But why are they waiting when you can just do what God told you to do? So I take it seriously. I believe that you know when you're a life speaker. People can look right at you and be like, oh, she's a talker. Yep, I'm a talker. I'm going to say it. I'm going to speak it out. And I don't just talk the talk. I talk, and when words come out of my mouth, the power of God comes too. So it's important for people to really have that spiritual, I don't get into that, whatever you're grounded in, be grounded. I believe in Jesus, so I'm going to speak about that. And I know that gift is not mine to hold, but I must speak it out. So,
and you know what, Angel? I think what you're saying holds for all of us in our own way. We have to do what we have to do. Imani is saving marriages. Do you know how many people are in perilous trouble, especially since the pandemic? I mean, what Steph Curry? I heard his parents were getting a divorce after 30 years? I don't know what happened. So it's like nobody's off limits. And if every one of you all bring hope and life to each other, it is an honor to know each and every one of you ladies. It really, really is. And the caliber of life that you all bring, it's noteworthy. It really, really is. So I salute you. I celebrate you as I celebrate the rest of the world, because I truly know, I don't just believe it, I know that podcasters brought the world through COVID. When we were on lockdown and we didn't know what was going to happen, people were sick. Hey, I had COVID and I was listening to podcasts. You know, it's like, you just want to, can I get out of this brain fog? Just, can I hold on to something that is familiar? Something that is my friend. People were looking for confidence. People were looking for information. And I think that we are still in that predicament. So kudos to you all getting past number 8 and just presenting to the world. So I could go on and on. I'm like Angel J. I'm like all of us. Podcasters can talk, can't we?
Well, I wish Rhonda had been here. She's the talker of the two of us, but I'm getting better.
I'm glad that all of you all are coming with video, because I talked to some other people, and videos where we're all headed.
Oh, yeah.
So audio is podcasting, but that video, we never want to put it on the back shelf, because some people want to see you all. You know, you guys just coming on your own way, and some talk with their hands and some don't, but at least that I think it's Imani was speaking of the intimate setting. They
Yes.
invite us in and they get a chance to know us and hear us and see us and feel the sincerity that we have for them. So it's priceless work that you're doing, priceless work. So I guess I better shut up and go ahead and say thank you, ladies. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you. Thank
we're
you
going to
so much.
share all September. Whenever you see the graphics will be going out. Whenever you see anything about, hey, podcasters.com, just go on over and all of these streams will be over there. All of
Great.
the one-on-one conversations. And let's not forget to support one another. Let's
Yes.
cross-pollinate. Let
Yes.
us
Mhm.
guest on each
Absolutely.
other's shows. When we see a post, let's be sure to share it out because
Mhm.
I think that this heypodcasters.com has the full potential to just explode for all of us. I really believe that.
Mhm.
So I'm Margo Levette, and I'll be back with the next live stream. So in the
Awesome.
meantime, keep celebrating everybody.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you,
Thank you
ladies.
so much,
Bye-bye.
Margo.
Thank you.
Bye, ladies.